Okay, so hello guys. This is a weird day. It is an auspicious day for us here in Critique Hour. I am streaming from Twitch. Dun dun dun. Um, and I am enjoying it. A lot of really cool things going on here. It's very different from the last time I used it. There's really cute little emojis. The emojis have evolved. There's so much more intricate and so multifaceted. And they're emojis within emojis out here, which is cool. And I will be doing this still the same thing on YouTube. So I'll still take the streams and upload them on YouTube. Don't worry, I will still do that. I'm just not streaming on YouTube anymore. Many reasons. I'm testing a theory. Usually channels that stream are channels that get affected by the algorithm issue, because usually streams last hours, and so they assume channels that stream are uploading hour-long or 2-hour or 3-hour-long streams, and they don't want to waste time with ads on channels like that. They don't want to waste time monetizing. So what they can't monetize, they don't waste time publishing and notifying, because they're not going to make money off my channel. So why should they notify my viewers? So what I'm going to try to do is bring my critique hours down to like 40 minutes, 25 to 40 minutes. I'm going to try to do that. I still want them to be substantial pockets of time filled with knowledge, because that's the point of all this, is that I was doing this for the knowledge, the spreading of the knowledge, and that is my charity for the world. That is my gift to the world. That is my legacy. That is my zakat. That is what I'm about. And I don't want to bring my videos down to 5-minute mix sessions. I want them to be good, to be places where people actually learn and grow. And the messages I get every day from people who improve are because I never brought my videos down to 15 minutes, because I don't think 15 little minute videos would have changed the people's lives the way they say it that they have. And I always stutter when I'm talking about myself. So I'm going to keep doing that. I want to keep helping people, so sue me. But I'm going to try to make them a little bit more, addable. But if not, then whatever. I'm going to keep them an hour long. So today I'm going to be taking a look at this piece, but before I do, a couple of announcements. So yes, I'm no longer streaming on YouTube, but everything is still right where I left it. Go to istebrak.com to have a look at everything. Istebrak.com connects you. It's the main road that connected everything. So you can go to istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon. It'll take you to the main subreddit. This is where I grab pieces. I just grab them and I put them in the critique hour queue. They make it onto my Photoshop and they make it into a video. This is where pieces get submitted and get critiqued. Even if you don't get critiqued by me, you still get critiques. Chat settings, pop out chat. All right. And also, Istebrak.com is where you can find my store. Currently, there is a massive, gigantic sale for Portrait Studio, more than 50% off. Portrait Studio is the program my team and I created. And it is where you can, basically, if you don't know about it, where have you been hiding? You can build any reference ever with this. It gives you control over the camera, over the model, and over the lighting, all in real time. There's no baking, and you've seen it in action before. If you don't know how to use it, guess what? There's a little video tutorial right on the product page. If you click on it, it's an entire video bookmarked by Abu soon, and it goes through everything that you can do in depth with Portrait Studio. All the ways you can make an object glow, all the ways you can make an object more glossy, all the ways you can control the lighting, all the lighting options that you have, and they are innumerous. The combinations are insane, and it's all for $40. I don't know the price of my own sale, instead of the $90 it usually is. The sale will be lifted sometime in January. It's just a Christmas sale, and it'll be going for another 3 to 4 weeks. So please take advantage of it. If you still don't have a copy of Portrait Studio, nearly everybody has one. But if you are ready to buy it, if you're ready to improve, it's an amazing learning tool as well as a reference generation tool. You can't go wrong. It's a product by artists, made by artists for artists. So it's tailored to you guys. And final announcement is the community challenge. Okay, I'm gonna try to find it. There we go. Purchase. No. Oh, geez, I took it down. Because I had to pin this. But the challenge is, let me find it for you. It is drawing your own winter elemental. It's like drawing your own little familiar that glows, and there's a certain number of let me just find it for you. There it is. Requirements for it, texture requirements. Ice, rock, twig, snow, or cloud. Those are the only 3 possible elementals you can create. And they have to be like a wintry theme elemental. It can't just be, you know, anything you want. So you have to learn to design within restrictions. And the beauty about these challenges is that you end up with portfolio pieces you could use in your portfolio to get hired to make art for games. It's really, it's customized for that viewing, for that demographic, let's say. It's really fantasy friendly, it's portfolio friendly, it's got a variety of textures in it, so it really showcase your skill set. It's great for studying, so join on these challenges. They're amazing. They're free. Everything about Reddit is free. Nothing is on sale here. All these students, all 4K of these students have joined for free. So please make sure that you are taking advantage of this resource. One of the biggest and most important ways to improve is to join the community, get critiqued, get talking with other artists, grow with them. It's very important for you guys to do that. So let's just jump into the critique for today. What do I do here? I grab a piece and I edit it, and I apply changes to it that might make the piece look better. And these are things you might remember and memorize. And next time you draw something, you will also apply these changes, and you'll learn fundamentals along the way, and you'll improve in general. So critique, I believe, is the best way to teach, because you get to see the before the fundamental was applied, after the fundamental was applied, and then you just reap the benefits. So let's get started. Sorry if I'm a bit stuttery today. Sometimes I just stutter a lot more than other days. I do have a speech impediment that I worked on when I was younger, and then eventually it went away. But sometimes it comes back and drives me crazy. Okay, so for this piece, it's pretty. It's a pretty girl. She's sitting, and it's her face. But there's nothing else going on. And I've seen this template many times before, and you've seen it. We've all done paintings, or we just feel like drawing a face and adding some extra detail. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just complete it. Instead of making her a disembodied head, I'm just going to add something here. I'm going to respect the lighting you picked, and I'm just going to go for that traditional back lighting so that her hair can glow a little bit more. She seems like a chosen one. Of course, we all paint chosen ones, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to just fix this seam real quickly. I'm making some quick choices because it's only an hour long and we don't really have a lot of time together. But you can change the lighting choice. I always traditionally use the backlighting because it's great for moments like these in cinema where you have a character who's just been introduced into the scene. Usually the light is behind them. They're kind of angelic or mysterious. Adding the light behind the character, it induces the feeling of that mysteriousness, and takes the story further. So right now what you've done is, let's look at the mistake. Mistake number 1 is having it in disembodied head. Mistake, not really, because maybe you were trying to be abstract. So let's say that that's not mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is this. The gradient starts and ends in the top half. In the top, like, let's say 4th or 5th of the canvas. Look at this. What is this? It's straight all around. It's not emanating. It doesn't fill the canvas in any which way. The color is unusual, and none of this color is seen anywhere on the character. The band of the gradient doesn't even expand into anything so that the canvas can actually feel like an open space behind. They just saw that the canvas was empty and they applied something to it. This tiny little gradient that barely expands in the canvas is useless because it doesn't have even the power to affect the background. It is a useless gradient. So I'm just going to throw this there. And just try to capture the background so that we can apply some kind of light environment that'll shoot through her hair, that'll just make everything beautiful. But I'm still gonna stay true and honor the choices you picked here. So I'm gonna choose this this turquoisey color, but I'm gonna also lighten it a little bit. And then I'm gonna select inverse, and yes, you guessed it, I'm going to apply the silhouette. But the silhouette isn't just this cheap thing. A silhouette is an amazing solution to a lot of the problems you guys are dealing with, to nearly all of them, because you're always painting portraits. They're always going to be front facing, and you're going to be doing that for what, like the next 4 or 5 years of your art career, especially if you're on the younger side. So you're always going to need the silhouette, because you guys are always going to choose these very silhouette friendly environments. So I'm going to bring that down, and then I'm going to just focus on the color correction. So the colors aren't great because nothing seems to be making any sense color wise, meaning that there is no general cool versus warm, there is no light environment, there's no real space. So I'm going to choose like a turquoise, like a derivative of that, but in the darker, more cool purpley side. And I'm going to run that as a color over the whole thing. And I'm just going to cool down the shadowy side, but I'm also going to make sure that that color is not applied to the background, because obviously shadow zone and light zone are opposite to each other. Light carries the color. Shadow zone doesn't have any color, so why should there be a purple shadow tint over the light area? It makes no sense. So I've balanced all these colors. I've made them feel a little bit more harmonious. Her skin tones are good. They're warm, but they don't really match the environment. The warm skin like this needs sunlight to really come through. So let's do a little experiment before I make any final choices. Let's shift that background color into something a little bit more yellow. It'll make more sense with the skin. Where is the yellow? There we go. All right, so I'm going to raise it to be white and a little bit more yellow. So just like something warm like that, like it's outdoor, and that feels a little bit better. Then there's also pure white. You can't go wrong with pure white. It's nice on social media because you can paste it and it camouflages with like the Instagram white background. So it's always nice to have some kind of white if you're not 100% sure, especially if you're working with a silhouette. And this is where everything was before with the blue. So you have a very deliberate mood you're going for, and that blue works, but you have to know that you're going for that blue mood. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the blue. Again, I'm honoring the choices you made, but I'm also going to apply that bloom behind the character's head to complete the silhouette. Okay, and then just kind of trying to introduce it everywhere. Oh, I believe I am lassoed, so that's good. And just bringing some of it here. So we have a little bit of white and a little bit of that blue, and that mood is maintained. And everything else I'm going to do, I'm pretty much just working on the portrait. I want the portrait to feel a little bit more realistic, and I'm just going to talk about what I need to do to just push this realism a little bit further. Before I do anything, I'm going to complete the silhouette a little bit. And then I'm going to get the sponge tool to make sure that the hair is saturated and illuminated where the light is shooting through it. So because that light is supposed to behave that way, the light shooting through an object makes it so that that object's inner colors come through because the light is inside the object. So I'm just doing it only mainly on the areas where the light gets to shoot through. And along the rim of the hair, along the ears, right at the top. That's terrible. I'll probably just do it manually. We'll just get started. And along all that. I need little pockets here and there. So we're just mimicking the light. Select inverse. I'm not happy with that background tone. I'm going to try to push it towards blues a little bit. Oops. And then select inverse again, and I'm just going to apply that pink kind of see-throughness of the ears. Not sure which tone. I want a tone that, see how it's more on the purple side than a warm pink, because I want to keep that cool tone the artist went for. I want to keep that going. Just right at the top, making sure that the shadow reaches, that the light reaches only the very tops of the ears, that there is still a shadow of the hair on the ears. Do you see that shadow right here? And I'm gonna get darken tool, darken mode, but I'm gonna push it all the way into the saturations, and I'm just gonna try, oopsie, dark. And I'm gonna try to make that shadow feel more blue. So now any light that's on the face is indirect light, and we can darken it even more if you want to. It actually looks better the more you darken it. But God forbid an artist darken something. You know, you guys are really obsessed with that overexposure. You want to have more environment. You want more of that, the atmosphere, like the philosophy of cinema in your work, because it doesn't feel like a scene we can access if it's a disembodied head. Sure, as a study, that's acceptable, but sometimes you do have to instill a sense of space in your illustrations. And that's not possible without understanding like basic lighting and camera setup for stuff like this. So I'm just going to complete a couple more things before I get into, again, just letting the light sit at the very edges of the hair, wherever the light is shooting through. Saturating, oopsie, saturating the tips of the ears again. Ears don't need to be like crazy rendered. You guys over render ears. They don't need to be these super rendered, hyper rendered, high detail things. The less rendered they are, the more classy they look, because you don't want to be drawing like these flailing pieces of skin just hanging out on the outside, the rect outside area of the focal point, because the eyes will go there. All right, there's more I want to mess around with the hair, especially extra strands. So again, before I finish, usually I do the face first and then I do everything else, but today I'm just rushing the face, rushing everything else, sorry. So I want to add a couple more strands here and there. That really needs it desperately. The hair looks a little bit too sinewy, not sinewy enough, but also too bulky, so it kind of does look a little bit like tentacles, so sinewy in that regard. And I'm just going to make it look like a Miyazaki windy character emotional stirring moment, just letting the hair kind of elevate. Making sure I'm keeping track of the cluster. So see how it Control Z out of that, because I'm not trying to make the hair symmetrical on either side, but also don't want it to read as an area where we can drag the attention away from the viewer, away from the focal point, the viewer's attention away from the focal point. So I'm just adding breaks in between that behave like hair. Just like this. And then a shadow off this one. Remember, there is an indirect shadow somewhere here, and that's the shadow caused by the ambient universal light source. So right now the real universe is obviously the silhouette. That's the main god of the image right now. It's why all of this is happening. But there is another superior light source that's hidden underneath while we can see the face. If not, the face would be completely darkened. You know that, right? So the silhouette would have taken over the whole thing. Because there's like a cartoony element to all the drawings we do, you don't have to draw every single individual strand. So you don't have to overdo the hair, but I'm adding just a little bit more just so the texture comes through, right? It's a texture after all, and I don't want it to read like tentacles or like pieces of fabric flailing around. I didn't like that shadow there. And I am going to encourage the blue, because some areas are grayscale. I'm just going to encourage the blue in these areas here to come through. And then from a distance, I'm going to start bringing in the bloom, and I'm going to actually let the white of the background lighten and raise the value of the hair here. So that bloom is going through the hair pockets, and I'm going to keep track of wherever I added that bloom, because I'm going to go back and bring the sponge tool and saturate those little tiny pockets. Look at that. And that's what the light is doing. It shoots through and it x-rays the hair. Hair not being that dense and opaque an object because there's so many strands of it, lets the light do that. And I want that shadow on the ears to be nice and gentle. It doesn't have to be super dark. It just has to be defined. So a nice sharp edge to show where that light is limited. Okay, so now I can finally mess around with the face. So for the face, what I want to make sure always is that the core shadow of the face is intact. So in a new layer, I'm restructuring the core shadow of that face shape, which is essentially circular. So I'm just doing one big circular shadow sitting across the face, just like that. So I've captured that essential shadow. And now what I'm going to do is just bring everything back. So I might put that on darken just so I get just that. And then I'm going to blend out the cheeks. Not sure where you were going with the nose being that red, because it kind of feels disjointed. Almost like it's been copy pasted off another painting in another light environment. A light environment means another world of light and shapes and bounce light, so another room, another world entirely. The space, you didn't have a space of shadow in between the brow bone. So the brow bone dents inward. There's a space where in between the eyes, there's a depression. Right before your nose starts, there's like a little drop here in elevation between the eyebrows. So I'm going to clean that. And basically, I'm just throwing all my skill at this. I'm not really trying to do anything unique in any way. I'm just making everything look a little bit more realistic in all regards. I'm going to grab that background color, that white, and really bring down my opacity and use that as the element of shading. So I'm basically blocking with my soft brush. Please don't do that. I'm just doing it to save myself some time. I understand the expansion of the soft brush and its effect. You guys may not, so just use the blocking brush to do this. All right, so I'm placing those lights only where I feel like they would reach. Any elevation along the fat of the brow bone up here, just look this big path of light traveling like that. I'm going to find that value sharing along the nose, fix that nose, that light and the darkness in the nose, because the nose is red and dark if you haven't noticed. And then yeah, find the value sharing along the side of the nose, which I will do with a blocker because I don't feel like dealing with that. So blocking means that we're just using a hard brush to assign surfaces. And then I'm going to, she looks angry now, and I'm going to lighten the sides of the nose because we don't want to value share. Value sharing is using the same value between two completely different objects. I think she was kind of stern in the before. I really haven't liquefied her eyes. I've just blended, so if you didn't want that angry look, you might have to remove the eyes from the eyebrows from their current position and like raise them up. All right, still blocking. I'm going to make sure that the upper lip has a block, which is just the upper part of the upper lip. Just there. It's not going to be as bright as the rest of the face. We still want to maintain some of that shadow. And then I'm going to allow the lips on the edges to drop into the dark spots of the lips, which are very important. And then now I'm going to just blend. So today was just about how to push your illustration a little bit further. Like where to do that. Okay. Then I'm just going to get into what makes the eyes feel more realistic. But for now, we just want to block and structure the planes of the face and the general geometry of the face. Not worried about detail, not worried about any of that, just maintaining the geometry. Darken, oh, new layer here, so. Right, so I'm dropping the face into this radial shadow, meaning I shrunk my brush as I approached the edge of the head while applying more paint as I layered the shrinking brush. So that's radial shading. Look it up on my channel on YouTube if you don't know what radial shading is yet, but it's an amazing way to add this depth to all this geometry here, all these spaces. And then I believe there is a turtleneck, but there is the space in between the hair that I could sneak in some blue with to kind of relieve the shape of the neck from the background, which should really help us later on when we're missing some dimension. All right. And then I'm gonna lighten some areas here. All right, so the gaze, I'm not happy with it because she's looking down and away. This is another narrative stretch we're doing. So we're asking even more questions. If this was like cinema, why does she look like an android or a character that's like looking away? If that was the story, good for you. You did it right. But for now, because I don't really know the full story, I'm going to make it so that she's looking at the viewer, which is never a bad choice. It's always a good choice. So I'm going to cross her eyes inwards a little bit to make it look focused. And then I'm going to push the eyes up and minimize the upper eyelid space because that all makes it look like she's looking upward. Again, I'm not trying to make her look mad. This is just a byproduct of the changes. I will adjust the final look of the expression when I'm done. Raising the outer corners upward, bringing the inner corners down. And now she looks like she's squinting. That may not have been something you wanted. I'm going to just find and locate these lower eyelids here. I'm not happy with the neck width. I might thin it out a little bit. So now she looks definitely mad. So I'm going to grab this pink a little bit here, and I'm going to apply some pink for the lower eyelid. And I'm just going to actually minimize the squint. The squint is a beautiful, expressive way for portrait artists to push the narrative in their illustrations, because all you really have is a portrait. You don't really have a lot going for you. So squinting, angry eyebrows, mouth expressions, all that face acting is great for portrait artists, especially ones that want to do simplified busts like this for their portfolio. They're not really after those big environment illustrations. They're just at this current stage in their development, they're just after these simple illustrations, these front view illustrations. And that's fine, but push it, go further than that. Don't just stop at the still expression doing nothing but staring into space. Squint the eyes, show some storytelling. There's so much that can be expressed through a portrait, which is why I love them. I'm just gonna resize them, the eyes I mean. And then again, just trying to cross the eyes inward so they look like they're like looking at me. Okay. And then I'm going to apply some of that light on the upper eyelid. No reason why you should really have shadow on the upper eyelid right now. You need some shadow on the upper eyelid, which is the eye socket. So you need more shadow there than anything else. And then we're almost done. Alrighty. And then for the nose and the mouth, I've lightened the nose quite a bit already, but I'm just going to lighten the shadow and diffuse it. Since it's an indirect universal light, you don't really need a sharp shadow. I'm also going to borrow that background light and really push that nose bridge, make it a little bit wider and stronger. Yes, a block just like that. But don't be scared, because as soon as you blend it, it makes sense. Do you see that? It looked unfriendly before and didn't match, but now it does. I'm going to let some of the side value of the nose hit the nostrils, because the nostrils are part of the side of the nose, so they can share that value. They're the same object. You can value share between the side of the nose and the nostrils. And then finally, the corners of the mouth, which I will try to render now. And I'll show you the before and after. So the mouth is a very simple structure. It's just a cylinder, and you just have to remember that. If you don't know what a cylinder is, get into some basic geometric shape form studies, spheres, cubes, learn what they do in light. Once you know what those do in light, you know what anything does in light. Alrighty, I'm going to push the highlight of the eyes just a little bit before I move on. Okay. Actually, no, I want it to be as small as you made it. I don't know if this is a recent piece on the subreddit or a piece from back in October, but this is basically what I do, is that even if the ones that I seem like I missed and seem like they're from months ago, I might even go back 3 months ago and pick a piece for critique hours. So don't feel like it's wasted if, you know, your piece hasn't been picked. I might very well go back and do it. Okay, and then on a new layer, I'm just going to apply some simple structures for the lips. One very, very simple white line, a brush of the light half of the skin on the lip. That is all you needed, because check the navigator. The navigator is an auto blend. Write that back to me. It means that, what's up? It's an old one. Okay. It means that the navigator is basically zoomed out enough that it'll blend the brushstroke you just added without you having to blend it. But take a look at when we blend it. Instant 3D. All we added was one band of highlight. Doesn't that make you mad? Doesn't it make you mad that there are so many little tricks and secrets that geometries have that you don't know that could make your art so much better? Look, one stupid little brush stroke. Look at that. Before, flat, after. Yeah, oh my gosh, it's a lot of paint and none of it is blended. A student will naturally undo this. But if you wait and you blend out this brushstroke you added on a separate layer, it matches instantly, and all of a sudden this mouth is super three-dimensional. There are many more secrets like this that geometric shapes have that you learn in a form study sheet. In a new layer, I'm going to bring out this chin, basically radial shading, low opacity, climbing upward. And doing that, and then I'm going to I'm going to do something real quick because I actually wanted this to be accessible. I wanted to turn clips on. I know how. Twitch.tv/Istebrak. The reason being is I want you guys to be able to create clips as I work. So content, clips. Oh, I forgot where to go to do this. So settings, stream. Oh yeah, there we go. Enable clips. Add category to exclude followers only off. All right, so I do want you guys to do these little clips of the before and after. That way my channel has some information on it, like what it is exactly that I do on this channel. So yeah, feel free to create clips as I'm drawing. I will be deleting clips made after hours. So to recap, what did I do? I added a bunch of paint, brushstroke number 1, number 2. I shrunk the closer I got to the light source on the chin, and then I deleted at the point where the chin turns away from the light. I smudged a little bit, and that was it, right? Now you have a really nice value there. I'm gonna fix the neck, I'm gonna fix some other stuff, and then we will be done. So the neck just has to look feminine, even though she's wearing a turtleneck. And I'm also going to let the head be a little bit longer. So it's like I painted the realistic version of the illustration here. So it's the same character, they just have a more realistic combination of features. And I'm going to get dodge tool, and I'm going to try to push some of these little pockets of light. I feel like we need one right there. A couple there. And this is just that intense light source behind her coming through. And then I'm going to borrow that very blue and let it bloom out. And if you wanted any secondary light source, I noticed you added a band, add the blue. It's as much a light source in the local area as anything else. Add the blue. Oops. I actually like her expression where she looks kind of tough. She looks like somebody who's just been summoned or something, so I'm going to keep it. Smudge is OP. So just imagine how many more geometric shapes have those little secrets to them. I'm going to push up very delicately with dodge tool. Careful not to overdo it. Pushing up the highlight on all of these areas of the hair. Finding all those little strands and just letting the hair climb up. I'm shrinking my brush as I dodge. Every area is different. I'm just going to the spots you highlighted already. Little inward bends here and there, pockets of highlight, pockets of sheen. Damn, I can't say sheen without getting triggered to do a league game. Man, once Sona gets that sheen, watch out, noobs. And then, yeah, I build Lichbane on Sona, sue me. Those assholes pinging it. And then I'm going to just find other little areas. All right. So how do clips work on Twitch? Can you just make a clip of anything? Like what if the before and after passed already? So I'm just adding these little shines everywhere. Can you go back and like capture the before and after? A couple more here and there. I'm actually going to darken. Yes, I'm going to darken it even more. I know, but look at what happens. I'm gonna darken the face even more. First of all, gorge. And second of all, I can go back and did it do anything? All right, whatever. And then I can, no, darken. Delete at what I want to keep light. So I'm going to get my eraser brush on soft and I'm going to delete away the specular highlight I added to the eyes. That stays bright. And I'm going to find all these little areas where they stick out just enough to catch some light, like around the nose and mouth, around the nose bridge here. These areas can catch some light. So the head looks even more three-dimensional. And it matches a little bit more. And it completes the silhouette. I brought it down to 50 though, I don't want it too dark. And then I'm going to duplicate the layer, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I want things that are not directly in the focal point to not be as detailed. So only the focal point gets that detail. Everything else is blurred on the outsides. Bring that down to like 60 or something. And then on a new layer, pure white, I'm gonna let the full bloom move in, which is just that larger bloom of the environment. I wish there were more strands of hair like here, just like courageous little strands of hair that you hide the face with, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm gonna actually try to apply one of these. Don't be scared of that because it's okay to let hair go in front of a face. It's what it does. I'm gonna give the hair a little bit of detail here. This one is all funny looking, so I might move it. somewhere. And so I'm just gonna try to melt this in with the rest and then cast its shadow. I'm gonna blur its edge a little bit. I kind of get dark in certain areas. Maybe throw in another little extension of that. Okay. And then this one, same thing. Just grabbing local values and just throwing some extra strands here and there. Locking the layer, throwing in some highlights, pressure free, so I don't have to worry about painting in the hair strand. Locking, smudging, and then I'm almost done. Blurring, anything that blurs or wisps around. Oh, I don't want to interrupt the space of the neck, so I'm just going to let this sit a little lower. Okay, and then going to just merge down. Oopsie, we'll merge. Just blur them somewhere. And then grab a skin tone, any dark skin tone, and let it sit there as like a shadow of where the hair started. And the secret to shadows is just blur. Blur, blur, blur. And that's how they make sense. Don't want the strand to look like an alien strand. I just want it to look a little bit like it belongs. And I want to push, so let me show you. I want to push this a little bit further, but I mean, you know me, I love pushing the silhouette. So what happens is select inverse. Like this just looks so cool to me because it's such an extreme silhouette. Like it really does feel mysterious in the way it would be in the film if this was a revelation, a moment of revelation in a movie. And I'm going to delete away it wherever I do have light shooting through here and there. It just feels more powerful when you have a stronger silhouette. But you know me, like I love the silhouette, so I'm always going to encourage you guys to explore it. A little bit of light on the nose. So before, it's just a very different skin tone, but definitely the story is still very powerful, even more powerful. I'm gonna borrow just some of it because I really feel like it is a better story this way. And then I'm gonna grab the dodge tool, try to push some of those little pockets of light. Those are the little hopeful things in the story here. There's little moments of hope. I think I need one more here. Then borrow the dodge tool and throw in some blue. Okay, you guys ready for the before and after? There's more I wish I could do. It is 6 o'clock. There's more I wish I could do, but unfortunately I don't have the time. I did like YouTube's low latency. That was always cool. Just being able to talk to you guys like real time. I'm gonna complete her her dress. I love this cool chest wrap thing. So I'm gonna try to continue it. It makes her look like an X-Man or something. X-woman, for your information. And I'm just gonna apply some basic radial shadows going down. So she actually looks like a magical character. Other things you could do, really cool things, is smudge tool on the scatter and like raise it up a little bit, shrink the brush, and you can like create these little wind patterns, these little like force interruptions, like, you know, like magical force. And you could do something like that everywhere around here, like coupled with a band of light. I feel like she could have some kind of energy whirling around her. Other additional things is some sun rays. I'm joking. I'm joking. It's not Michael Bay movie. I feel like the ears could be a bit more, have a bit more subsurface on them. Actually, no. All right. The hair, I just want to add more strands to the hair. I feel like it could do more. But I'm just gonna shut up now and let this painting come to a close. So a little radial shading here to show where the hair kind of starts to hide inward. And then of course, how could I forget the blue light of her eyes? I want to push this further. And I'm gonna grab the blue of the eyes and just let it kind of wash over the rest of the eye. It actually makes her eyes look really pretty and more impactful when they when it seems like the magic of the blue is kind of just also in her eye space. And before I let you go, I'm actually, because you added pink on the nose and everywhere, I'm going to show you where to add pink on the face. You could add pink on the eyelids. You don't have to just add it on the nose. You can add it on the eyelids. You can add it on the apple of the cheek, just where the cheek gets highest when you smile. You can add it on the mouth, and a little bit on the forehead. It's there for me under settings, advanced, low latency. So you guys can control the latency. That's insane. How much do you guys control? Okay, so before I add that, a little less pink for the eyes. Okay, so ready for the before and after? Okay, so before, after. So what did we do? Obviously, we completed the painting down. We made her look upward. We applied a light environment. Her hair was gray, so you can go back and fix that. I kind of made her hair blue. I'm sorry. I get away with myself when I use blue. I love blue. But you can go back and grayscale her hair, as simple as getting the sponge tool on desaturate, and that's it. I wouldn't do it around the areas where the bloom is coming, and I would try to limit the gray in areas where there's light. Gray actually looks pretty. And I would highlight the hair. I would make the hair a little bit brighter. So before, after. So you're not, do you guys miss the brightness in the skin? Do you feel like that's something we really needed? Question for everyone. Do you guys feel like we needed it? And then the brightness in the back, that little band of light at the top, what was that doing? That little curtain of turquoise light, right? What was that doing out there? Nothing. And you have this amazing character who, you know, is looking down, so she looks like she's looking at my collarbone. And that's it. There's nothing else happening. She's this really cool gray-haired elfin goddess lady, or warrior or soldier, but there's not much happening. Do you see how little effort it took to just take her shoulders to the edge of the canvas and go there, you know, go there. I really like the blue hair, so I'm gonna bring it back. But only just for me. But I showed you the gray hair. And then just look at the darkness in the face. Yeah, it has a lot more drama in cinema. So what are the fundamentals we learned? This is a tile canvas, but it's kind of wide, so I guess I'm not mad. So we learned that finish the canvas, finish the character, don't let them just float. It's better if you're gonna choose a white background, just go for the silhouette. There's nothing wrong with it. You can only benefit. Overexposed skin is not well-painted skin. We can live without those super white skin tones. Trust me. We will, as the viewer, live without them. This pure, almost pure white that has no correlation with the background. People like to see light effects. People like to see see-through, subsurface scattering. Take advantage of it. The silhouette allows you to do that. And if you do want to paint like League Splashes, League Splashes are ridden with silhouettes. They're everywhere. A couple of little blurs here and there to expand the scene a little bit, to make it feel more cinematic, like it is a camera pointing at it, blurring anything outside the focus. And moving her eyes so they look at the viewer made her look more, gave her more presence, more agency in the illustration. The nose was too dark. It kind of looked like it had its own little world of shadow and light. Now it's kind of combining. And the chin was too exposed, and she's now looking at the viewer. And those shadows around the nose and eyes all make sense now. I want to try silhouettes now. If you're doing white backgrounds, should you do a gray background first to get your values right and then make it white, or will it be okay to make it white first? Go a little less than white, but definitely go for the bright early on. If you don't want to do that, go for friendly values, and then if you know the goal you have, if you have a reference nearby, use that to guide you for pushing the final push into white and into dark for the silhouette. You don't have to go ham. Like for me, I didn't go ham right away. Like I didn't go straight into white. I found my way there. Nothing about this process is linear. It's recursive. You make a decision, and it might not be the fullest to the fullest of the decision, the fullest decision. You still have the chance. You're not on a timer. You still have the chance to adjust a lot of stuff as you go, and there's no rules other than the rules of the fundamentals. Alrighty, thank you everyone for coming. So to close off class, if you are interested in getting your work critiqued, all you have to do is go to istebrak.com to get your work into subreddits, into our subreddit. So istebrak.com, go into the Reddit icon here. It'll take you to our subreddit. Please join. And if you haven't already, please consider joining as a $1 patron. It's just $1 for all this educational material. I'm doing my best to keep my channel, even though I'm doing all these changes for the benefit of my channel, I'm still doing my best to keep my videos long and educational. And I'd really appreciate if you guys hopped on and helped support the channel so it could last for years to come, no matter what the streaming platform or video platform is going to be. And there's currently a challenge, a community challenge. I will repin it at the top. Go to the subreddit community to find it. Portrait Studio is on sale. Portrait Studio is an amazing place to even build silhouettes if you needed to. You could build all kinds of references in it. It's on sale for more than 50% off, as well as my brushes. And look out on my website. I will soon have a masterclass portraiture lesson on sale as well. That's in the works. And I believe that's it for announcements. Go to my Twitch and subscribe there if you want announcements. Twitch is more active with their notifications, so it's not like YouTube. It's not going to siphon my viewers or anything like that, because my videos are not advertisable, because they're too long or too educational, or I swear, or I don't know what it might be. Twitch will send out notifications, so if you are having issues getting notifications, please go to twitch.tv/Istebrak and subscribe there so you can get emails that tell you when I'm live, be it a live stream critique hour or an after hour stream with my personal work, which I did this morning. I'll see you guys on Thursday, hopefully at 5 p.m. Eastern time next week. Will be the last 2 sessions of the year, and I will go on vacation for the holidays. And the 16th is when I will critique the elemental pieces handed in. The winner gets to sit with me during critique hour and talk about all the pieces, and basically I just get to meet you guys by voice, which is really cool. I cannot wait. I'll see you guys on Thursday the 9th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Bye guys.